La 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 la, la da dee da dee dum, la da da dee dum, bum bum bum. All right, my name is Jack Fischer, and my show is called Sonic Earscape. My show is all about classical music, modern classical music, which I know everyone's like, what is that? Is that even a thing? It is. If you listen to the show, it's all about all 20th, 21st century music and crossover, and where classical music is going now.
My name is Griffin Davis. My show is Easy Rider, and I play from 2 to 3:30 p.m. on Thursdays, and I play songs from and of pop culture. It's basically movie soundtracks and television.
I'm Timmy Linetsky, and my show is called Drop the Bach, where I play classical and electronic music. It's from 2 to 4 a.m. It's trying to bridge something that's very contemporary and connecting that to something that has been around for hundreds of years, classical music, and combining them in like a musical cosmic gathering that hopes to educate and entertain the listener.
My name's Mark. I do the Doom Corporation and when? Fridays, noon to 2.
I'm Cassidy Green. My show is Where in the World is Mama Cass? And basically what I do is each week I present the music from a different country or region. And this quarter I'm focusing on Africa, so it's a different country in Africa each week.
I've had a lot of great moments. I was on a roll for a little while where just people were calling in every week and telling me things about the music and what it meant to them. Definitely a lot of people are kind of like, what is this? I definitely get a lot of those calls. And I explain, oh, this is modern classical music. Like, this is really interesting. But I've got a call from Seattle. Some guy in Seattle was listening, and he's like, yeah, I love this piece. It was a Hoveness piece that's this beautiful trumpet solo over an organ. It's just really spiritual, and he loved it. And just various people talking about music and how they think music should be, and so I get a lot of that. Those are really great to be able to talk to people.
Well, I get a lot of calls from Dave from the Grave. That's really boosting my ego recently. Before our last show, I didn't have any callers, but then he called, so that was nice. I also got this guy who owns a yacht, and he's actually traveling to Hawaii. He was telling me that he needed friends to travel to Hawaii 2 to 4 a.m. Didn't go with him to Hawaii, probably a good move, but he's also invented the 60s.
One of my callers showed me a lot of Colin Powell rap videos. So that was exciting.
Who's Colin Powell?
He's in the Bush administration.
Oh.
So we talked a lot about that. One caller specifically called me to tell me that his girlfriend, he was about to pick up his girlfriend and take her to the airport to take her to the next stage of her life. So he asked me to inform her that one day all of the chicken tenders in the world could be hers, and then asked me to play a song for him. So I played Leaving on a Jet Plane by John Denver, and I really hoped she was going to Denver, because that would make things a lot more full circle. But at the very least, she was going to know that she could have all those chicken tenders.
Recently with my new show, I've been getting a caller every week or so, and this guy Dave, and not Dave from the Grave, and he called in and he basically said, oh, I just moved to Santa Barbara and I'm working in student health. I've only been there for a couple months, and I found your show and I really like it. I commute in the morning from Ventura and I listen to it every Thursday. And so he's called a couple times, and every time I kind of really thank him, because getting new listeners is I think a little bit more rare than the long-time listeners, and so that's kind of a special caller. Yeah.
I really like the listeners, and there's a bunch that I've never met, and they've been listening forever. And one stayed at my doctor's office longer just so he could wait for me to show up, because he'd never met me. And he was like, it was pretty funny, he was pretty ecstatic. I don't know, I'm like, not used to that in person.
honestly, one of my favorite things is connecting music with people. That's why new music is kind of doing that. They're like, oh, how do we involve the audience? But that's what radio does, is that radio kind of, especially KCSB, where everyone is sort of just like a master of their own genre and their subject of their show. And so I've now become like personally like passionate about trying to bring new music, new classical music to people. You turn on the classical radio station, you're like, oh, this is, you either turn it on because you're studying or because it's like, oh, I haven't had my Bach or Mozart fill this week, you know, otherwise you don't listen to it. And there's so much more than that, you know. Classical music is more than studying or jewelry, commercial music, or old dead people from 100 years ago. And so now I'm kind of like, well, come on, classical music stations, you know, let's start showing that. So that's been a big thing for me.
I was a child of the internet, so I was always on the internet looking things up. So when I came here, KCSB became an outlet where that sort of information could actually prove useful and interesting to other people, and at the same time I could also kind of fledge my own personality and like not only just spouting trivia, but like why I like this stuff and like why I think it's funny and like why it actually means something to me. So yeah, so KCSB has been a great place for me to take all of my obsessions and absurdities and blast them out to the world for everybody to see.
I feel that it's necessary to take advantage of the medium of KCSB where I can play this type of music because no one else is.
KCSB to me just means sort of a place of sharing in a way. Just the library itself is here to share its music with you. All of the programmers are here to share their music with you, or their theme shows, or you know, the cultures associated with whatever they're playing, or their public affairs show. It's really kind of all about sharing, and just sort of sharing experiences, even if you're not on air and programming. You know, you get a chance to see everyone around, all the different programmers, and swap stories and just hang out. And so yeah, KCSB is sort of all about sharing.
We must have blood, right? Fun drive.
Yeah.